Genesis 1, verse 31. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. Genesis 2, verses 1, 2, and 3. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their vast array. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. This is the Reverend Dr. Laverne Corrine Williams Foster Hall Harvey Brown Fontaine Turner Hill Holt McCain Cash. And on this seventh day, let us rest in prayer. And I will begin the prayer by quoting a very dear friend, Episcopalian priest that I have known for years, R.V. Taylor. These are the words that greeted me on this morning. And I'll just paraphrase a little bit. Grant us, O Lord, double portions of your massive intervention and infusion of kindness, respect, empathy, dignity, decency, goodness, mercy, and trust, along with daily doses of joy and self-awareness. And I add truthfulness, all embraced within the palms of my prayers on this seventh day. And I might add grace. And let me share with you the word grace and how it changed the way that I pray. Many years ago, as director of a Saturday ethnic school at my church, the church that I was united with, the ethnic school on Saturdays, sometimes we had up to 100 children there. And just before they would leave for the day, we would give them a meal. And I would always ask for volunteers to come up and say grace before we ate. And I'd always have at least 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes as many as 10 of the children come up to say grace. They would stand on either side and in front of me, and they would take their turns saying grace. They would begin by saying, "Let us fold our hands and bow our heads." And then they would bless the food and bless everybody. And whatever it was they said, that was their grace before the meal. On one particular Saturday, we had a new little girl there, 6 or 7, 8 years old, I can't remember. And when I asked for volunteers to come up and say grace before we ate, her hand was the first to go up. So she came up. And of course, there were other students there as well, in front and on both sides of me. So we asked our new person, our new little girl, to be the first to say grace. She didn't quite know what to do, but she knew that she wanted to say grace. So I said to her, just invite your mates out there, your schoolmates here today, to fold their hands and bow their heads, and then you say grace. So she invited her fellow students, to fold their hands and bow their heads. And so when they did that, she bowed her head and she simply said, "Grace, amen. Grace, amen." And that was the most beautiful prayer to this day that I have ever heard before. God knew what was in her heart and in her head, and that's what she wanted to say was grace. God accepted her prayer. So whatever it is you want to say, however it is you choose to lift it up to God, God will accept it. So on this seventh day, embraced within the palms of my prayers, all that my friend Robert greeted me with this morning, added to it truthfulness and grace. And grace. This is the Reverend Dr. Laverne Corrine Williams Foster Hall Harvey Brown Fontaine Turner Hill Holt McCain, keeping these words that mean so much embraced within the palms of my prayers, and I invite you as well, so that we will all we will all hear God say just before evening, "It is good. It is good." So yes, Grace, thank you for changing and altering the way that I pray.